যদি সবাই ফিরে যায়, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা সবাই ফিরে যায়, যদি গহন পথে যাওয়ার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায়, তবে পথের কাটা তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। যদি আলো না ধরে, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা আলো না ধরে, যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে, তবে বজ্রানলে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলো রে, আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলো রে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো রে।
Hi guys, thank you for joining the live stream. I hope the audio is coming fine. Hi Bhupenda, Navavimarsh Bhupenda is here with us. We still don't know whether he's actually younger or older than me. I just randomly call him Bhupenda. So roughly I like the budget. I have my disappointments with it. More or less I like it, and as Shuvendu himself said that even the opposition cannot really criticize this budget. There's nothing to criticize, and in fact the only criticism that Ridobroto in fact came up with was pretty hilarious. He said one which doesn't even apply to this budget because this budget is just for the next 88 months. This is a general budget, and he said that we are very disappointed with the budget because the infrastructure plans are great, but they haven't specifically mentioned which places are demarcated for which infrastructure projects, and it's not supposed to happen in this budget. So Ritobroto was just trying to play non-BJP B team. And the other thing he said is, yes, we are in favor of business-friendly atmospheres, but always remember, folks, it must not ever get towards profit maximization. And profit maximization is apparently very bad, and he said that we must take care of the situation so that it does not in fact become a profit maximization situation, because if that happens, I think doom will befall us. That's the only criticism, but I have written down my thoughts so that they are more coherent and so that I could put all of my arguments together in one place. So let me just read out from there. I like this budget, but I was also disappointed by it. Now, how can both those things be true at the same time? Because after reading the speech, my overwhelming feeling was this budget feels like it was written by a government with 150 seats, not 208, and that is what the thumbnail is about. So if somebody gets the impression that Sopan Dasgupta is himself coming to the podcast right now to discuss the budget, that's not happening. I'm sorry if the thumbnail gave you that impression. And if that sounds provocative, hear me out. There is a lot in this budget that I genuinely welcome. The deep sea port proposal, the North Bengal IT park, the semiconductor manufacturing plans, the AI mission, the startup ecosystem proposals, the investment incentives, the Ayushman Bharat rollout, the anti-extortion measures, the recruitment reforms, the attempt to make Bengal more attractive to business and industry. If you have been watching this channel for any length of time, you already know that these are exactly the kinds of things I have been arguing for over the years. In fact, when Chief Minister Shubhendu Adhikari spoke up, after the budget and announced a 5,000 crore investment incentive package, 5,000 crore incentive package. That was one of the moments where I thought, yes, finally somebody in Bengal government understands that investment doesn't come because we feel entitled to it. Investment has to be competed for. States compete, countries compete, capital moves, jobs move, factories move. And Bengal has to become competitive again. So this is not going to be one of those live streams where I spend 3 hours saying everything is terrible, because everything is not terrible. In fact, there are many promising ideas in this document. But then I came across the section on the urban land ceiling framework, and suddenly my enthusiasm cooled. Because the government currently identifies that land regulations are a major obstacle to investment. It understands the problem, it acknowledges the problem, And then it says the framework will be re-examined. Re-examined. That single word captures my entire criticism of this budget. Throughout the speech, I kept finding examples where the government seemed to know exactly what was wrong but wasn't quite ready to pull the trigger. And that leaves me with a question: why? Why does a government with 208 seats sound like a government that is still negotiating with Bengal's past? Why does a government with one of the biggest mandates in state history sound so cautious? I am not asking for recklessness or shock therapy or some fantasy libertarian revolution. Governments have to govern in the real world, but there is a difference between being prudent and being hesitant. There is a difference between being strategic and being timid. And tonight I want to explore whether this budget sometimes crosses that line. We will discuss the good, the bad, and the missing. We will discuss the deep sea port and why I think it could become one of the most important announcements in the entire speech. We will discuss the North Bengal technology and semiconductor proposals, Ayushman Bharat, welfare measures, investment incentives, the women's reservation proposals, the pension scheme for victims of politically motivated false cases. We will discuss the opposition's criticism and whether any of it actually holds water. And most importantly, we will discuss, is this the budget of a government trying to transform Bengal, or is it the budget of a government still trying not to offend Bengal? Because those are two very different things. And I think that distinction may end up defining the next 5 years of politics in this state. Over to you, Bhupenda. What do you think of the budget?
Okay, actually, I am not going to take a like swipe at the budget itself. I actually heard a few clips of Shakundas Gupta before he won the elections, and after 1st June, 4th, and also 1st June, when we're discussing what they need to do, how they need to restore business environment in West Bengal. So he had like mentioned some very specific things. He said the kachara, TMC has spread a lot of kachara in the West Bengal, and that needs to be cleared out. Okay, for a like a Oxford educated education journalist who is quintessential Bhadralok and conservative, he is using the word kachara for a political party and its dispensation and what they have done to the state. So, and the way the budget is structured, okay, I was expecting like this is not something very like shocking to me, the way what they have done, but the intentions are there. Okay. So in his before he won the elections, he had mentioned specific things. He said in my thumbnail I have put the word Bengal premium. So since 1967, when CPM came into power, correct? So all the businesses were leaving West Bengal because the environment was not conducive to do business. Now, he specifically mentioned that we need to make sure that we earn the trust of the business community, because the business community feels there is a premium which needs to be paid by the business community to come and do business in Bengal, and we are going to fix it. Now, that statement he made before he won the elections, and the way police are going to be correct, he has created new administrative police unit to take care of law and order. Okay, infrastructure is there. There's a new law which is going to come to make sure that the tola baji is legally tackled, not at the social level. Okay, so for me, his statements which were there pre-election and after winning the elections, and the budget, the way it is formulated, I think he's going to deliver on those things what he has mentioned. So that's my initial reactions.
Hmm. Did you get a chance to get into the details of the budget at all?
No, because from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. I was at a medical institutions to take care of my father. So I could not
Oh,
read, do anything. But
okay.
I did go glance it through it, and uh, see, we expected that there will be a lot of welfare measures will take place. Correct? So, but
What do you
for the
think of
next
the
five,
33% women reservations and stuff?
that's expected. That's BJP not doing this would be would be a surprise to me.
Hmm.
Why somebody who is observing BJP politics for last since 2014? when Narendra Modi came into power. Correct? The Labharti, correct? The Labharti work, in Hindi they are called, correct? So working with them, winning their trust, giving them financial incentive, giving them uh, money, toilets, cooking gas, food grains, all this. So not doing the 33% would have been a surprise to me. That's perfectly normal
Hmm.
for a BJP the way they are going about it.
Hmm. Only
Why
because
do
they
you
have
why do
208
you,
seats.
why do you think it's surprise to you that BJP is doing 33% reservation?
Because they have 208 seats, not 150.
Yeah, but it's their policy, correct? It's a policy that they are following. They are going to implement the women's reservation bill in the uh,
The policy is
national.
formulated based on what are the demands of the public, and there's no demand for the from the public for 33% reservations for any woman.
In a democracy, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, so they are preempting future vote banks, of course. So yeah, yeah, that should not happen from a central government level or central party diktat. It should happen states demands wise, and every state is not at the same levels or same rank of disasterhood. Every level, every state is at different levels of improvement or disastership, so they need different policies. And 33% reservation, obviously nobody asked for it, but more importantly, if once a standard is set, then it's set. But why wouldn't they listen to the state's demands separately? Because they have
Okay,
208 seats. No, all I'm asking is what difference does it make for them to have 208 instead of 150? If they had 150, what differently would they do?
I think if they even had 150, they would have done the same thing. And I'll tell you
Yeah,
why.
then would make more sense,
Yeah, see, if you like, if you're
because
going to
it is a
analyze.
form of appeasement, right? It is not a not appeasement.
Yes, so think from a political party perspective. Any sane political party uh, actually makes policies, creates their vote bank, correct? Uh, Gives a signal to the voter who is going to vote for them. So, as a political party, BJP is very smart. So it thinks 15 years ahead. Okay, what are things I am going to do to make them a kind of a loyal voter? Okay, so since 2014 onwards, correct, the strategy of the BJP is that you need to make sure that you corner bulk of the women vote, and that is almost like a magic bullet to win elections. And as a political party, BJP wants to win elections. So you and me will disagree with that policy, but as a political party, it makes much more sense. That's what they have done.
So in English grammar, is that called appeasement or pandering?
Whatever you, whatever we say, it doesn't really matter. It can be pandering. I would not say actually appeasement, because like I was talking on the same issue in my channel as well, and I mentioned that this reservation plus a lot of appeasement, like money given to the women, correct, which is going to be given to the women. So they are they are kind of a upliftment in terms of, especially for like rural women or women in tier 3, tier 2 cities. That money is spent on the family itself, on education, on, or some women might actually might do some things, correct. They might have a small business that they run with that thing. So that money in the day starts feeding better food for the children. Women bit happier, they have a bit easier life. So, and that overall is going to have a better impact overall next 30 years. So this impact of given money giving to them is going to give a positive result for India overall in next 30 years. That's a long term vision. That's my
Uh,
opinion.
what about the unemployment benefits of 2,000 rupees per month to non-graduates and 3,000 rupees to graduates who have less than 1 lakh rupees per year family income?
Okay, so when you put 1 lakh rupees family income. Okay, so I think not too many people will get it. So, and see what BJP has mentioned, correct, in their pre-polled promises, that we are going to keep all the promises, all the things you got from TMC, and we're going to add addition to our benefits. So it is like keeping the promise, that the contract that they have. So the voters voted that we will get the benefits given by TMC, and we will get additional benefits which are going to be there from BJP itself. So it's a promise which they have
It's 1 lakh
given as a
rupees per
political
month, not per year.
per month. Huh?
Yeah. It
That
has
I
to be
did
less
not
than 1 lakh
notice.
rupees per month.
Family income. I think in that case,
Yeah.
but correct, but they have to be graduates, correct?
No, if they are graduates, they get 3,000 rupees. If they are not graduates, they get 2,000 rupees.
Okay, then I will get some correct money. I need to apply for it. Are you going to apply for it? Question to you.
Okay. This is the question I'm trying to ask. Why couldn't we do shock therapy with 208 seats?
Think like a political party, not like a like
Why the
ideologue
fuck?
of free market economics. It's
What if I
it's
think? What if I
politics.
think as a Bengali for my state?
Unfortunately, nobody thinks like things in Bengal. A Bengali, he never thinks what will happen to Bengal. He only thinks what will happen to me, what I am
Hmm.
getting.
Yes.
So it doesn't really exist.
So what about my thoughts?
Your thoughts. Oh, you are
Yeah.
a very tiny minority, so you don't even
Yeah.
count
And
among
these
them.
people commenting on the screen, all of us included.
Hmm. No, fine. So even I also don't like a lot of things which has happened, but as a political party, I can understand why they are doing this, and we should be. Okay, one thing is very important. Correct. I think Sanjay Sanyal has given some hint in his interactions that the shipbuilding and ports. So like that is going to that's a really good thing that's happened, that the shipbuilding and ports are coming back to West Bengal, and that's a very good sign. So that also needs to be taken care into account, that what they have done. See, they have to balance the budget. So I think it's a well balance in terms of what promises they have delivered, and also overall infrastructure. And the biggest plus for me for this budget is Bengal is trying to win back the trust of the business community across India, not even in West Bengal. So whatever measures has been taken in this budget is in that direction. It will not happen immediately, but next 3 to 4 years, where they will build a lot of infrastructure, law and order. You might see few more legislations coming in. So two legislations. One is the riot, like if you're going to destroy public property, you are going to pay for that. That's a very good initiative. And also a second one is regarding correct the Tolabaji tax that is going to be legally tackled. So it's a signal to the business community that please come invest in West Bengal. We are taking legal measures, not illegal measures like putting somebody, uh, let them roam around in sneakers, okay, in front of everyone. So they are doing legal steps to make sure this Tolabaji and illegal money collection is stopped. And they're also investing in police. So they're going to do like few police reforms in terms of new police administrative units, and I think 20,000 constables are going to be regularized. So this,
Yeah.
I think the takeaway from my end, my perspective is the signal which has been given to the business community that we are implementing things on ground. Come and look at it. That's the
Hmm.
biggest takeaway.
Now we will check out the highlights from the budget. So, firstly, obviously, the biggest news of the day: additional 20% DA to government employees, state government employees, 5,000 crore rupees investment. It's not actually an investment; it's a tax break. Incentives, incentives worth rupees 5,000 crores is going to be offered to the capitalist fraternity, and this this incentive bill, which must have been worth much less earlier on, was brought in 1993 by Jyoti Basu. It did not. It mattered a little. Some obviously came, especially during Buddhadev's era, but not much happened. More people were coming in. Obviously, if Buddhadev had been in power for another 5 years, then we would have seen the benefits of that incentive bill that was brought in 1993. So Jyoti Basu obviously only had the intentions. He had no way to execute his plans. That's what we find out from his McKinsey report, as well as the WBIDC plan made with ICICI, the document we discussed in our live stream a few days back. So Jyoti Basu was not a man of executions, obviously, unless it was a human. But now BJP is trying to bring in more investments with 5,000 crore rupees. But in the middle, in between, Mamta had not only repealed that incentive bill just last year, just a few months back, and she retrospectively repealed it. So she asked every industrialist to pay back all the tax break they received from 1993 until 2025. That was hilarious. The first area of creation of jobs is the government sector. We have said that 1 lakh government jobs will be filled in this financial year. What a horror. The second sector is private investment, and those investing above 100 crore rupees will need not to take permission from the local level. Nice. We have been hearing of single window clearances and stuff, which is order of the day in Gujarat, but that was planned for West Bengal in the 1999 WBIDC ICICI report as well. Jyoti Basu himself had plans for a single window clearance, and he had become quote unquote darling for capitalists, as termed by Puranjoy Guhotakurta. And then things fell apart because he did not
I
have the courage to stand
I
up to
want
his
to
own
ask
men.
you one question. I want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
From Jyoti Basu to Buddhadev Bhattacharya, why do you think Jyoti Basu wanted to adopt capitalist policies? Is it because he was not a communist, or is it because they wanted to extend their he knew that their days are going to be numbered if they're going to continue the same policy? It was a political move or a ideological shift?
No, I think it was simply realizing that this cannot go on. What is going on? They realized that this West Bengal cannot even stay alive with the stuff we are doing. We have to change right now.
No, I'm saying it is an ideological shift happened, that he became less
No,
communist like
they
China.
simply gave up on ideology. They gave up on ideology, and
Yeah,
they saw the results from China, of course, as well.
yeah. So
They
that
kind
was
of
my
got the mental
question. That
blessing.
yeah, but in that context, how, did they have any plans to actually get that message to the cadres at the lower level? Because they thought, okay, this is
No.
bad, but they have taught these people 30 years that this is good. So had they
Yes.
failed in the execution of putting that down the line to the local cadres, that okay, this is what we could do, and we should do this, is good for us. They
Yes.
failed in that context.
They didn't fail because they didn't even try. That was not even part of their plans. Their plan simply was, we are powerful enough. We will just tell them that all of a sudden our slogan is Krishi amader bhitti, Shilpa amader bhavishyat, and people will just mug it up, and that's what people did. And then a lot of people didn't. That's when that arrogance backfired, and that's why, in fact, Buddha Bhattacharya went happily, kind of stealing people's lands, because a lot of people did not want to give up the lands, and the bureaucrats simply lied to Buddha Bhattacharya. And maybe not, he didn't know, or maybe he did know, but all that heavy-handedness was simply because of the remnants or the memory of their power. They knew that if they wanted to do something, it would be done on the ground level. There would be no question about it. So when they realized that the ideology is just not working, they move beyond ideology and get mental blessings from Deng. But they never thought that they will have to educate people on the ground or their own cadre. They thought, we'll just tell them the slogan is this. And that's why, and the teaching part of their party infrastructure, hierarchies, etc. All of them were still the farthest of the leftist people on the history of mankind. So they were not going to be teaching these things anyway. So it would have to be Buddhadev Bhattacharya giving online master classes. So that was not going to happen. That's why it was not going to work anyway.
Okay, last question, and then you can move on. So, this nostalgia of Buddhadev Bhattacharya or Jyoti Basu are very
Hmm.
good leaders, and
Hmm.
they tried to bring industries, but it did not work, and all those things.
Hmm.
So, like these people who are the so-called intellectuals, are
Hmm.
are they stuck in a kind of a loop that they are unable to come out?
Yes.
That
Yes.
not able to reconcile the old communist ideology and the new communist who love to be capitalists.
No, then we'll have to get into psychology and social psychology, because people usually, if they have to change a major stance in their life, they do it by 25, 26. If they don't, they never do after 25, 26. So all the change that we are seeing from people these days turning into right wingers and stuff, that's only happening because they are, those particular people are changing before they are 25, 26. You are majorly talking about people who, when they were 25, 26, they were probably making the transition from far left to reasonable left, or reasonable left to far left. That's all. That was only the all the spectrum that was available to Bengalis, discourse wise speaking.
Okay, move on.
Yeah. So 5,000 crores. The previous government has withdrawn incentives for industries. We have reintroduced incentives and allocated 5,000 crore rupees for the purpose. Conducive atmosphere for setting up of industries. Ended the needless conflict with the center. Government allocates 14,000 crore rupees for providing jobs under VBG Ramji scheme. West Bengal government to allocate 14,000 crore rupees for providing providing jobs under VBG Ramji scheme in the state. Rural jobs under MG and Rega was suspended in West Bengal since 21. Government to examine the examine the Urban Land Ceiling and Regulation Act, not to repeal it. West Bengal Urban Land Ceiling and Regulation Act will be re-examined to unlock the potential of developable land, attract major investments, and fuel economic growth in urban areas, says the finance
uh,
minister.
oh, one more thing. This re-examination, is it something to do with that a lot of TMC people have bought huge chunk of land in the rural as well as in the urban centers? That
Uh, are
I'm
you
just
saying
giving a
it's
wild guess.
are you saying it's being re-examined instead of repealed because Trinamool people have bought land illegally? Or are you saying this re-examination is happening in the first place because Trinamool people have bought the land?
No, my hunch is that they are going to do a lot of administrative reforms. A lot of corruption has taken place in the
Hmm.
land departments. They
Yeah.
need to clean up the administration, remove the corrupt ones, and also re-examine. If you okay, one more information. It is in public but not discussed. Amit Shah, Home Ministry has actually asked all the bordering states who are like Bangladesh and Assam, bordering states to and bordering districts to examine the land deals happening last 50
Yeah. Yeah.
years, 30, 50 years.
Yes.
So that is happening. So my hunch is that that policy will be rolled out once the cleaning has done. Cleaning up has happened in terms of illegal lands being occupied, benami lands are there. So once
Hmm.
that is, and also correct, there is a huge problem in West Bengal of digital documentation of land
Hmm.
data.
Hmm.
Okay, if you're going to buy a land or a land in West Bengal, it is Herculean. You can never know that the document that is given to you is real or fake.
Hmm.
So that lot of things need to be done. So probably they will make the changes once they have cleaned up this old kachara which was there for 15 years or more than that.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
my hunch.
Yeah. No, I believe that I don't believe. I think it's true that You don't have you could have repealed it and then gone after the corrupt ones anyway. You didn't have to keep it and just examine it to go after the corrupt landowners of Trinamool. Interestingly, this Urban Land Sealing and Regulation Act, the short form of it, the acronym says ULCRA, ULCRA. It sounds like ulcer, and it should be treated like ulcer. Okay, we have an interesting question. Wait, where did it go? Oh yes, what Rishabh is pointing out here. Notice that Swapan Babu was speaking in English when talking about the infra, and in Bengali when he was talking about freebies. Yes, that is language casteism and soft bigotry of low expectations, and they are not low expectations; they are accurate expectations. Bengal to get new medical colleges at Alipurduar, Kalimpong, Dakhin Dinajpur, and Paschim Bardhaman. Bengal government to have new Ayush department. Salary of ASHA workers under ICDS scheme hiked by 5,000 rupees per month because they do the job of somebody else who also gets paid to do their job. Lol. Government announces 3,000 rupees per month for unemployed youth, for graduates and non-graduates 2,000 rupees. Cook cum helpers working for PM Poshan scheme will get a raise of 1,000 rupees. Is this the food that's going to be cooked by ISKCON? Because
Yes.
yeah, ISKCON to assist in food preparation distribution. Finance Minister announced in the budget announcement. Okay, here the situation is very tricky. On the one hand, they probably won't get cockroach and insect infested rotten food. On the other hand, the diet that ISKCON will provide them is absolutely a death sentence for their career growth, because their key problem is childhood nutrition and stunting and lack of brain development because of bad diet, unhealthy diet, etc. And that cannot be uh, replaced with, since they have had such generations of bad diets, they need some high protein as soon as possible. And with an ISKCON diet, it would be a miracle if they got 50 grams of protein in the entire week. So it's still development. It's a better spot from where the situation is in right now. But if we are
No,
going to do this, let's you put our money to better use.
do you think that the additional egg would not be there, addition, not in the cooked in the ISKCON kitchens, but the eggs will be given as addition?
No,
Like, we need to just check
I
whether.
think it's going to be handed over to ISKCON completely.
Let's
They're
see.
not going to have
Because
two sets of cooks.
no, no, no. Like, an egg is something which will be there. Anyway, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Um, Government to allocate land. Okay, there was one other interesting, more spending, but it's very targeted and very precise. So I kind of like it. The budget for a 3-time meal at any government hospital was 70 rupees. It has been increased to 120 or 140 rupees, something like that. We have our Vanguard bros joining now. We will take their opinions as well. Government to allocate land to build Navodaya Vidyalayas in the state. Integrated deep sea port to be set up at Dadanpatrabar. Where the fuck is this, and what language is this name from? How do we pronounce this? Dadanpatrabar.
Purbo
Dadonpatrabar.
Medinipur.
Somebody give the pronunciation in Bengali and in Sanskrit rooted languages. Dadonpatrabar. Bar. This name very much sounds Odia. Kathir kache. Yeah, that's why when Swapan Dasgupta himself was pronouncing the name in the assembly, I could not recognize it. I could not understand. Okay. So this mysterious place sounds like Timbuktu in Purbo Medinipur is getting a deep sea port. Finance Minister announced that an integrated deep sea area. Said to get a new greenfield airport near Kolkata at Kollani. This is going to be fascinating. This is good stuff. Finance Minister allocates 36,000 crore rupees for women's financial assistance scheme under Annapurna Yojana. Dadon Patrobar. খুবই কঠিন নাম বারবার. Government announced 550 crore rupees for free bus scheme. শুনেই কাশি হয়ে গেল. Finance Minister announces raising MLA local area development funds from annual 70 lakh rupees to 1 crore. More of our Vanguard bros are joining. Government announces scholarship for girl students of state government and government aided schools. DA for government employees raised by 20%. State government to recruit 1 lakh people for various vacant posts. Recruit does not
I hope
mean civic, right? This is proper recruitment, right?
this is proper recruitment. I hope there are more teachers, proper teachers who are being recruited, and police,
Yeah.
teachers and police, because two are most important sectors which need a lot of investment.
Government is going to recruit 1 lakh people for various vacant posts. He also added that government is going to reserve 33% of the vacant posts for women candidates. So you see, the lesser evil men, the lesser evil voting men, people who voted to prevent BJP from coming to power in 2021. You see, if you had gotten BJP back then, or even then, you were not going to get the. Yeah, I'm thinking if the government had done something and hired people, your governments, maybe Trinamool itself, if you are a Trinamool voter, if they had hired you, you could have gotten the job. But now the next government is giving 33% reservation, so the men are screwed.
Okay, hold on. So this
Yes.
33% is the recipe which is going to make sure that BJP is going to remain in power for next at least 15 years.
Hmm. Yeah. Imagine if they didn't have to do that to remain in power for 15 years. Finance Minister Sapan Dasgupta to present the state's first full budget. Yeah. West Bengal government to bring two black bills, two bills to tackle public disorder attacks on police public servants. West Bengal government is set to introduce two bills in the assembly to strictly deal with public disorder, vandalism, and attacks on police personnel and public servants as senior. Nice. The bills are expected to be tabled. Yeah. Debt to GSDP ratio among the highest for major states. Lol. Okay, let's check out the data. States outstanding debt is estimated at over 7.5 lakh crore, with the debt to GSDP ratio hovering around 38%, among the highest for major states. Interest payments alone account for nearly 49,000 crore rupees annually, constraining the state's fiscal space. Bengal's first BJP budget likely to balance welfare. Yeah. Oh, likely. Okay. We are done discussing this then. Okay. Now let's have Shrayan and Dibbendu with us. First, Dibbendu, go ahead. Your audio is not coming. You're probably muted.
Yeah, now it's
Yeah, go
fine.
ahead.
Yeah. So, so what I have fathomed from the budget, so it has moved from the mostly a entitled-driven politics towards a infrastructure-enabled prosperity, and I am a very strong proponent of, as a person, to having more of the infra-related, capex-related components in the budget because it acts as an economic multiplier, right? It's okay to have a welfareism and targeted welfareism and all, right? Which is what's this one, it is not an umbrella, like for example in Lokri Bandar and all, everyone could have it, correct? Instead of here there's a economic income cap and all
So,
other
Dibbendu,
features. Yeah,
do you mind if I interrupt you and give one argument in favor of Lokhir Bhandar going to everyone instead of specific people? Because people are, I think, under the impression that it's sort of some truism that yeah, it's definitely better. It's obviously better that some people get it and not everyone. I do know of some arguments in favor of giving it to everyone and not just some people, which is we have enough cleavages in Indian society already. We create another one by demarcating some people who avail Lokhir Bhandar and some people who don't. So it's one more problem to deal with in terms of division in society. And if in fact it's universal, then that first of all that division does not arise. But more importantly, then the government has an incentive to someday at least repeal it. If it's that affordable because it comes at the cost of creating divisions in society, then that never goes away.
it's a very fundamental flaw is like, why are we giving the money to have some money in the hands of the people so they can spend, so they can spend and there will be a economic churn in the society. Now let's say there is a person who is earning 1 lakh per month. If you give 1000 or 1500 extra, will it be any more, will it create any issue? No, it will just more probably make it a savings. There will be increase in savings.
Yeah,
So
I have an
that's why
argument against the savings argument as well, which is that savings does not go to a hidden locker under the bed. It goes to real companies who's on whom that money gets invested in the save from the savings account. The
yeah,
interest
but
is
I
does
right,
arrive
correct.
from somewhere.
Correct. But that doesn't have an economic multiplier effect. Economic multiplier effect have if it's been consumed by people.
The
Let's
company
say
is getting the investment from your savings. That's an economic multiplier effect.
that is, but is India facing an issue in savings? I don't think so. There are a lot of people who do save a lot. Like in the government employees, everyone is saving a lot. India is a much more saving economy. They don't. It's not like they don't save. The amount of economic capacity
But you
there.
make
This
saving sound like a bad thing. That all that saving is going to new companies or even developed companies who are developing further and growing further.
no, that's fine. So you are saying there is a crunch in the savings so that the companies are not getting more funds to have
No,
them
there is no
earn
crunch.
that budget.
There is no crunch, but
Mhm.
why treat savings like it's not important
It's India is a very bad investor if you
while
see.
creating cleavages in society?
No, I'm just saying that. So if you see the developed economies, the amount of money they pour into equity market and they pour into banks is nothing close to India. India is much more they go into banks only. Very few economic penetration you have there in the equity market. So I, as a person, doesn't is a very big advocate of pouring money into the banks. So that way, as I said, that's a goal of giving this welfareism is not like having people saving. That is why would government be giving money to people to save, right? They have other means. So that's why I'm saying the umbrella concept that they have, like giving everyone, it's a very bullshit thing. Why would I be paying tax to giving money to everyone? So for targeted to
Because you are
actually
giving to
why
some, and because that doesn't create more social divisions.
that though anybody can give, but I don't agree with
It's a
that
social
logic
division.
actually. Yeah.
Okay, there was one important point. Yeah. Will the Annapurna Bhandar be given to all women? No. Okay. Where was another important? Yeah. Too much madrasa budget. No, the madrasa budget is included with the SC/ST budget as well. I guess ST education budget. So I'm guessing a lot of it this time will go to ST education stuff as well and not just madrasas. And madrasas anyway have secular schools and stuff. The more important thing to do is if they are going to fund everything and anything anyway, then they are going to fund madrasas and ST education also. There's nothing inherently flawed about it because there are many secular madrasas as well where Hindu students go, Hindu teachers are filled in those madrasas. Then just go after specific madrasas who are teaching problematic things. Otherwise, there's nothing much to look at this. And is that 33% reservations over normal reservations? No, it's over normal reservations as well. So you are going to get reserved twice if you are there. So this is intersectionalism.
Okay,
Okay,
one more thing.
yeah, go
Actually,
ahead.
this 33% reservation, what happens now? I got to know few days ago that there is already a 33% reservation actually in states for women who are fighting elections, but it happens like a lottery. So you get it for one seat, and then that again seat becomes vacant and it becomes normal seat. So it's like a round robin which takes place. So this new bill which is going to come is going to solidify that thing. So now one seat becomes reserved for women in one election. In another election, it doesn't become reserved. So there's a round robin which is being played. So it's like pretty complicated stuff. But that happens also in states. It happens in states as well. So I think the new bill is going to address that problematic thing that it gets round robin is removed. And I don't think it is going to be 66% reservation for women. I think it is only going to remain 33%. That's my perception. It might be wrong. I not read the full thing, but it's not going to be 66% reservation for women in jobs. That's my assumption, or hopefully it is.
No, I mean the castes plus the gender reservation that way.
Is it so? Because there was
Yeah.
a Supreme Court
Uh,
judgment
One point
reservation
here.
can't cross it. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Sabhi namaskar. So, regarding the 33% reservations, it is very much possible that if a woman is SC/ST as well as a woman, then both the reservations will be counted. It is very much possible. Therefore,
Correct.
some
Yes.
of the reserved candidates will overlap.
Hmm.
Okay, so I don't think it will go up to 66%. That would be absurd. Okay, so I don't think it will go up to 66%. But yes, it can go up to 66%. If we take the worst case scenario, say, let's say all the SC/ST reservations are only for men, okay, then women have to be reserved no matter what. So it can go up to caste-based reservations plus your women reservations. So that is there. And regarding appeasement of women and what will happen in the future, I don't see a bright future to this. This will create more divisions in the society, more entitlement among women, less sense of responsibility, less sense of accountability. Uh, and I'm noticing this in relationships, in marital, matrimonial cases. This is visible. Uh, and then what we will do is to blame the society, saying that कि महिलाओं को संस्कार नहीं दिए तुमने, ब्राह्मण महिला मुस्लिम से शादी करके कन्वर्ट कैसे हो गई क्योंकि सोसाइटी ने संस्कार नहीं दिए. We will never talk about how state incentivizes reckless behavior in Hindu women by allowing them to get away with all their follies. And on the top of that, as a family, you cannot control women at your home because all sorts of Brahmanical patriarchy propaganda is being pushed through media, through your education system, through your government schemes. On top of that, all the Hindu Marriage Act and Hindu Civil Code applies on Hindus only, where women have excessive rights, excessive entitlement, while it does not apply to Muslims. On top of that, not only Hindu men do not have legal protections or social protections, that is through social security, on top of that, you don't have institutional protections. Unlike Muslim or Christian men who have protection from the church or the mosque or the educational institutions of madrasa and all, Hindus have none of that protection. Temples are controlled by the government. Your educational institutions are regulated by RTE, which is why many Hindu education institutions shut down. So you cannot give sanskar to your children in any way. On top of that, nuclearization of the Hindu family structure. Nowadays, you go ask any modern women, they will say, we don't want to live with our in laws. I don't blame them. I'm not blaming them, but they don't want to live with their in laws. More women want to work, and in major cities, women have to work. It is very difficult to run a household uh, by a single earning person. Okay. So, how do you expect them to have more children and give time for towards upbringing of their children and inculcate all those dharmic values which we keep talking about to keep the Hindu family system together? I don't know how this incentive structure works and what people keep talking about that in 30 years in the future, somehow it will be better for the Hindu society by appeasing Hindu women to this extent. It is going to destroy the society. I'm telling you, this is wishful thinking that if we keep opposing one side on the basis of their identity, that to immutable identity, whether it's caste or gender, we will create a better society. No, such appeasements always create a more conflicted society. So live in your dreams, sleep in your dreams, eat in your dreams, and say, we will be a Vishwaguru. No, you will be down the train. Your situation will be worse than America, than UK. Today we see gender war in America. In India it will be far worse, where Hindu men will lose confidence because they have no protections. They will lose their masculinity. Therefore, Hindu women will fancy Muslim men, and they will themselves on their own ovation marry Muslim men, and then we will cry there is love jihad. So good luck for all those people who support such policies.
Yeah, and whatever the situation is in a particular society, that's how responses come about, right? So we can gauge what the nature of the problem was from the kind of responses to it. More often than not, at least in many cases, in many contexts. So an Andrew Tate like person has not happened in India because our situation is not that dire against men in India as of now as it is in England, right? for that same reason, feminism might have had its place in a way more repressed society like in the West for women than in India, and especially West Bengal, where it's a pretty feminist society already, on top of which you are putting another layer of gigantic, uh, 5 feet thick, rich, ঝরে ঝরে পড়ছে wave of third wave feminism.
In India, the situation is your laws are more feminist than the West. Your laws are more cuckooer than the West. Even in West, legally, women do not have such entitlement like in India. Okay. In West, women don't get alimony for staying in marriage for 5 or 6 days. Okay. They don't get alimony for that. And in asset distribution, both assets of both sides are counted in Western matrimonial systems. Women's assets are also counted and man's assets are also counted and then equally distributed. In this country, alimony is granted on the basis of assets, which is only with the husband. Okay. And that too, even if that husband has built those assets without the help of the wife before marriage, even their alimony is applicable. So my wife was not there with me when I built the assets, but she will walk away with 30 to 40% of my assets just because she married me. This is the absurdity of our law. Even in West, such absurd laws do not exist. The problem in the West is that the society has now changed. Okay, and they are more feminist. Indian society is not that feminist, but your laws are excessively feminist. But it is difficult to change laws, but easier to change societies. Societies are more dynamic in nature. Societies eventually change with the passage of time and situation. Okay, so it is not very far that Indian society will become feminist like the West, and it will be worse because your laws are even worse than the West, even more woke than the West. Because if people say no, society will stay as it is, society will stay as rural as it is now, and will not change 20 years in the future, then how come live-in relationships are normalized today when it was not 20 years ago? How come premarital intercourse is normalized today? How come the kind of clothing we see in many streets, even in tier 2, 3 cities, normalized today, which was impossible to wear for women 20, 25 years ago? So the society has changed. So people who think the society will stay as it is today are living in a false paradise. So congratulations to you. This society will go to hell.
Now,
Abhay, Abhay, I have a solution for you. Let's all men form a party, and we will ask the government that government should pass a law that any individual can declare themselves men and women whenever they feel like, so that
they
all
can
men
already.
will no. I think there are some they have made change the law to make sure that you have some other body parts to declare yourself. That needs to be repealed so that all men can identify as
Yeah, I'm
women
saying, yeah.
and all will
Have
be
a
equal.
gender surgery, yes. Post surgery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that will increase our fertility rates and solve our problems. Yeah, good going.
No, since because talking of society, in order to prove to society that we are not just a bunch of incels discussing this, we will come back to discussing the budget and talk to Shrayan now, who seems to have gotten up too early and has gone out for a long morning walk and is not getting back home. What is up with your walk?
Yes, I'm not getting back home. In fact, as a matter of fact, if I get inside my home, I'll not be able to continue with the stream because I have been occupied the entire day. And if I enter with my face inside a podcast, staring at my screen, then I'll give an ass whooping from my feminist and patriarchal members of the family. Now,
Right.
as I have always said that, well, the Indian state has this weird desire to solve problems which are not problems in the first place. That's what they have been doing. As a matter of fact, in a certain point of time, I was pretty confused as to who is presenting the budget. Is it Shopon Dasgupta or Pramod Dasgupta? Then I had to actually bring myself to senses and think of it that, yeah, I mean, these are all the obvious things that were promised. Amongst the good parts that I can actually mention about, probably what struck along was the camaraderie between the finance minister and the chief minister. Secondly, the fact that they at least discussed about doing something about the ceiling, not in this budget, probably in the next budget, but actually they at least mentioned that at some point they'll take it up. God knows at what point. Amongst other things, well, I had actually thought that it was pretty natural that they would do a lot of things for the sake of optics. So, for example, the 20% increase in day I feel is bizarre. I mean, well, you have brought it up and then you have mentioned that you are going to work upon it even more. And now there are few hiccups. So by the time those hiccups are gone, we'll all be bankrupt. But I don't know what voter base does it cater to. I am pretty confused as to if that voter base is so huge that you cannot actually
Government
go without
employees.
abusing them.
Yeah, government
Yeah.
employees are pretty huge.
Yes. I mean, so technically, as I said, I found the budget was a weird khichdi of mercantilism, free market capitalism gone wrong, socialism, and everything that is there under the sky. Now, amongst other things, probably the only way the state is actually going to directly interfere in terms of actually doing something tangible and good is probably solving the logistics, which is what they are intending to do with all these, I mean, airports here and there and whatever. That is one good thing probably because that would actually help with the voter, I mean, investor confidence and stuff. With the 33% reservation, well, I mean, I was already looking up for options for gender change surgeries and stuff. I do not know. So it's probably they made up their mind that they have to make themselves look as the direct opposite of what Mamta Banerjee was. And they went so far in that entire route that they basically took a full circle and came back to the same spot. That's what my analysis is. And and it is very interesting if you had actually seen the budget live. So Mr. Shopan Gupta was speaking in erudite Bengali, and the moment they actually started talking about land acquisition, he suddenly switched to English, probably hoping that no one really pays much attention to it, and it is gone just like that. So I guess they do not want to take up too many battles regarding that right now with the hawker thing going on already. So they just touched upon it, and they intend to touch upon it again next year probably, and that is that. Amongst other things, well, there is this IIT and AIMS and blah 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 coming up. I mean, already we have around 7 to 8 new IITs now, around a set of probably 5 to 6 new AIMS, and none of them have picked up in the way they should have. Half of them are in a semi-operational state already, so I do not know what they intend to do with bringing another IIT, I mean, into the picture just for show me. And if that is the thing, I don't know why for North Bengal, because, well, I mean, Kharagpur, for example, IIT Kharagpur is already pretty much towards, let's say, that region. So, if anything, they could have made something out of Kolkata with possible land acquisition, but I think that would not be possible. Amongst other things, I feel actually in terms of land acquisition, what they want is they will not actually solve it in terms of a law, but since the land acquisition minister is the guy that there is, all of a sudden we will see magically consensus building up in case of most things. And that is how they need to solve it for the timing. So again, relying on an individual more than an institutional mechanism being sorted out. So that will stick for some time. And then there is this weird desire to, well, I would not say it is weird. It only makes sense that they want to actually build all these tourism circuits. And they mentioned about the 5 major temples. Among them, 3 of them are Shakti Peeths. There are more Shakti Peeths in the Bardhaman region as well. So, yeah, I mean, it basically went from being Congress plus cow to being communist plus cow. And there was a half-hearted desire on the part of the finance minister to say something different, but probably he does not have as many liberties as Dwapon Sasgupta has. So, yeah, that is pretty much it. And I did not find anything remarkable per se in case of the budget. The most off-putting part was obviously the 36,000 crore or something for Annapurna Bhandar. And there were some other bizarre promises, like I guess they said 30,000 to anyone preparing for competitive exams and God knows what. And I do not think anyone would be getting it in the first place. because every time they would actually apply for it, they'd be off the criteria by some parameter or the other. So that cannot possibly work out, because I mean, how does the logistics of that thing work out? If you're claiming that you're going to give a lump sum amount of money to people appearing for competitive exams, is it a one time thing? That is not defined. Is it for one competitive exam? So, like if you're appearing for two different competitive exams, do you get double the money? So,
Yes.
in most cases, what Bengali people do is that if you're appearing for JE, you're also appearing for NEET. So, in that case, are you giving 72,000 to each of these people? I haven't seen that. Is it properly defined? I'm not sure. So, and
No, it
again, I
will
mean,
probably it will probably end up being once per year, one time per year.
okay, once per year. So, good luck to the UPSC guys. You are going to be rich. I mean, if
Yeah.
that is how you're going to do it, that. And the only good thing probably is that they actually said that Atal Tinkering Labs and stuff would be coming to the schools. So that generates some amount of confidence. Yeah. The most striking thing, perhaps, in this entire budget to me was that you are actually collaborating with ISKCON for the midday meals. And I was laughing my ass off when I heard that. It was clever, and what was even more interesting was what the chief minister said after the budget speech was over. That actually you can actually have that food, and no one is going to force you to say Hari Bol and stuff. So clearly, that is the way they are going to go about, maybe against certain things which we should not speak out loud. Otherwise, in terms of law and order, they intend to deploy a bunch of civic police and stuff. And there was this bittersweet threat that was issued to a lot of these forest guards and stuff that chatai hobe na, but there would be other things going on. That was there. And suddenly,
What do you
in
think
midst
of
of a budget, you yeah, you go
what do you
on.
think of the metros in Durgapur, Asansol, Siliguri?
Well, I mean, if anything, that is the one thing they should get done,
Yeah.
because
Al-
I
No,
honestly
Shravan,
found that is the only. Yeah.
Shravan, a lot of people are opposed to this. They are saying that there's no point in building metros there. I'm very much in favor of this one. I think it will be a
No, no, I
huge
am
help.
very much in
Regarding
favor in this
metros,
one.
regarding metros
Uh,
in Durgapur,
Wait,
Asansol,
Abhay.
and all this,
Wait.
just
Let
yeah.
Shravan
adding to
finish.
your point.
Ah,
Actually, I am
see,
adding to your point there.
yeah, just a moment. I'll just complete my point. I feel, well, one can say that is not necessary, because I don't know what their logic is. Probably because those places are not industrial hotspots or something. But again, if you are actually someone who believes in the idea of free market, and if you need to do state intervention in some form or the other, sorting out the logistics and transport issues can be the only good way you can actually invest industry. I
Shravan,
do
the
not know,
airports
because
are there.
uh,
Airports in such I mean seemingly weird places are also for the same reason, because I think they are going to become industrial hubs, and once they become
yeah,
highly paid,
exactly. That's
high net
hmm,
high net worth people come in, then you will need
hmm.
huge services of metros as well as airports. I think they are building it for the
Yeah,
long
I
term
think they're
purposes
doing
as
it
well.
the reverse
Absolutely.
way, where they do not have the budget to further their industrial causes right now. So they actually start with building the infrastructure, and they hope to catch up on the other ideas in the coming years. Because even now, if you see, I guess they provided some 5,000 crore amount incentives for ease of doing business. I don't know what are they going to use it on, because the other policies that they mentioned are actually not very much coherent with what they have proposed. So probably that was their line of thinking, that 8 mahine bache hai. So this time around, they actually start off with the, let's say, complementary works, and by the time that is done and they introduce other things, they will go exponentially faster. Because anyway, this is the first budget, and I do not think anybody is going to blame the government right now itself. It was therefore a fair share of socialism, a huge share of socialism. And I am not sure, did they actually give the youth employment thing? Oh, they gave that as well.
3,000
Uh,
rupees per month to graduate unemployed, and 2,000 rupees per month to non-graduate unemployed. If their family income is 1 lakh rupee is less than 1 lakh rupees per month, according to Shubhendu, and 1 lakh rupees per year according to Swapan Dasgupta. So there's some ambiguity about that. But other than that, they will pretty much get 3,000 and 2,000.
if it is less than 1 lakh rupee per month, then I do not see the point of why it should be given to anybody in the first place, because 1 lakh rupee per month is a decent amount. I mean, 1
Hmm.
lakh rupee per month currently is a better indicator that you have amassed some amount of decent wealth, which will, which you can make do of yourselves. That is that. If it is less than 1 lakh rupee per year, then that is completely useless, because that 3,000 isn't going to make a much of a difference in a productive way.
No, unless
I
it's a
mean,
shock
that's
therapy
my
to
analysis.
redistribute wealth. It's a shocking redistribution of
Yeah,
wealth. In that case, there will be no
yeah,
poor.
yeah.
The hope is that.
Yeah. Which is why I said I'm confused if it was Pramod Dasgupta or Shapun Dasgupta. I did not
Yeah.
really make much of a difference for the larger part. But yeah, I completely agree that logistics, metros, airports get those things done. That is the only reasonable intervention you are making into the
Hmm.
know-how of things. Do that. And I feel a lot of these projects, the other things that they have announced, should be stalled and completely thrown out of the market. But probably once again, they cannot do that. So that is that. And as far as the woman empowerment thing is considered, well, I genuinely have concerns regarding that as well. I actually feel that it is putting a huge
Pussy.
chunk of the two in both ways actually. So it is putting a huge chunk of the electorate into a very vulnerable position, whereby they would actually see that their two-child policy will never be necessary in the first place. You would have zero-child policy infiltrating the discourse magically almost,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's very bad. I do not know. So probably, which is my cue. I mean, I am very perplexed at why they chose ISKCON all of a sudden for the, let's say, free meal distribution and midday meals. So I believe that they will have certain amounts of cultural, I mean, inputs to give to the entire discourse in
Hmm.
some pathways which are not directly governmental, but then they will have an all-pervading influence. And out of all things, they have actually chosen ISKCON, right? They could have
Hmm.
chosen Ramakrishna Mission and stuff, but they chose ISKCON, which is kind of telling something. I'm not
Hmm.
going to speak out loudly what it is telling, but it is telling something. So I do believe the chief minister understands there are tangible problems, but then they cannot take up too many things at the same time, and they have already taken up two or three controversial things. So this is kind of a way to balance those things out, the other things
Yeah.
out, and then
And
probably they
Bangladesh
will.
and ISKCON is a sort of face of the resistance in Bangladesh as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So probably that is there. And all of a sudden, in a budget, they break out into 6th July will be a government holiday, and we are building a 125 5 feet statue of Shama Prasad Mukherjee, and we are going to rehabilitate his house. Well, good. I mean, could have probably
Yeah,
pushed a few more things over there, but that.
go ahead, Abhay.
Uh, Regarding uh, just now, he said something. Uh, Again, I will raise another issue then. There was this new thing done for gig workers that they will make a welfare body, and
Not much.
I am
See,
wondering,
I
I
understood
am
that
wondering
some things are being announced in the budget just because, just for the optics, because those things have 50 crore rupees sorts of allotment. A similar thing I think is for the gig workers. It was just for the optics and nothing more, because all they did was
if
set up a welfare board for gig workers and
if
no real
no,
budget
no,
announcements and stuff.
I am wondering if they set up a welfare board or some kind of a body or commission.
They did.
Would these bodies not start operating like some sort of a trade union
It's
for
through
gig
the
workers?
government. It's being created
So,
by the government to create sort of a safety
so
valve.
yeah, maybe the government will control them and say that don't go
Yeah,
for
it's under the
too much
government only.
trade unionism or communism.
Yeah.
But let's see, these things are quite unpredictable, as in what goes in the mind of a government. Another point is
Yeah.
that we were talking about how, though this budget is better than the ones before, it is still very socialist. Okay, very free spending on
And they could
welfare
have
and all
not
sorts of
been
stuff.
with 208
I
seats. If
think,
not now, when? If
I
not for
think,
us, for whom?
okay. Now, I always get this argument from BJP supporters that, oh, this is the political reality, we can't do much and this and that. The point is for people to change their thought process so that you can create a new political reality. You need education. You need to change the minds of the people through education. What have you been doing for 12 years? Were you sleeping? So there is no excuse for BJP or their supporters to say, oh, this is the political reality, what can we do? No, wherever you could do something, you didn't do something. Okay, there were many things which people didn't even ask for. UGC people didn't even ask for. Your 2018 draconianization of SC/ST Act, people didn't even ask for. In 2024, BJP did not lose. The main reason for BJP was for losing was not that they did not give people enough welfare schemes and freebies. The reason was they moved away from their core belief system and started adopting all those caste rhetoric and sabka saath, sabka vikas, sabka sandas kind of a narrative. So that is where the problem lies. Another point is ISKCON. I'm wondering that ISKCON is a very vegetarian organization. Okay, so they don't even have onion and garlic in their food. Forget about mangsho or meat. So why would someone do that in Bengal, where people have been sensitized so much about Bengali culture or food culture being very non-veg heavy, or it's a very integral part of Bengali food culture or cuisine? Why did they choose a organization which is extremely vegetarian in its attitude? I'm wondering. I don't have an answer to this. Why would they do so?
सबको समझाना है कि तुम लोग जो खाते हो वही एंड ऑल बी ऑल है डाइट का.
तुम लोग जो खाते हो वही एंड that is what ISKCON is
The
giving
Gujarati
instruction.
Vaishnav diet.
Okay. So I really, to be honest, I didn't understand this move. Another point
See,
is,
but
I
that
hope
could be
they,
like Akshay Patra is there in some parts
yeah,
of India. There might
yeah,
be
Yeah.
yeah.
to create that
ISKCON's,
culture.
it's an auxiliary organization of ISKCON, Akshay Patra.
Mhm. Correct.
They are in tie with governments in many other parts of India as well.
Right.
Even in Karnataka and all, they have done
Mhm.
it. And there was this whole controversy raised that these people only distribute vegetarian food, therefore there is deficiency of protein and all of that.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of controversy created on this issue. Uh, Another point is that I hope they really work on infrastructure. I think some of the announcements done for the sake of infrastructure development is actually very good. Uh, Regarding trains in your Bardhaman district, not trains
Metros.
but metros. So it is intercity, you are saying, right?
Yeah.
Intracity or
City to
intercity?
city. I think both.
From one city to another
That's how
city.
it sounded. Like, yeah, it seems like that, and it will stop in between
So,
as well. It will basically be underground local trains and AC.
so why would they go for metros? Why wouldn't they just increase the number of local trains? What was the problem with increasing local trains? That's what I'm saying. For a
There
metro, you
probably
have to
isn't it,
create a completely new infrastructure. Those lines are very different. Plus, metro
because they are
costs
probably
add up.
looking at huge growth in these cities, and it's going to be a life for high net worth individuals, and which is going to create more middle class people who will prefer the metro over the local trains.
If that is the case, then it's good. But
I'm
I think
getting a hunch
if
that is the case.
if local trains can be improved a bit, if there could be some AC coaches in local trains, I think
And those
that could
places,
have also done a job.
no, a lot of long distance trains also go through their routes. So they would probably need separate lines and stuff for local trains to become more frequent.
Yeah, but you don't have to build a new station or anything. I mean, you can add
Hmm.
more lines by broadening the uh,
Hmm.
railway roads and all of that railways. I'm not sure about this. I think a better informed person could answer better, and maybe you have better information on this. Uh,
No, I don't have
other
any information. I'm just guessing.
so Another thing is that seaport thing is very important. Bengal needs to be a uh, hub for seaports. There should be plenty of seaports all around Bengal, as many as possible. Of course,
Hmm.
it should be economically feasible. Uh,
Hmm.
and then they talked about building those circuits, Shakti Peeth circuit,
Yeah.
and how to connect the temples. And
Yeah.
they also talked about creating a heritage commission, which will sort of work on these heritage sites to build transportation between those
Hmm.
sites. So
Hmm.
I think overall, to my liking, it's a very socialist budget. And as Shravan said, it is possibly because there are only 8 months to go. So they wanted people to get what they wanted or to hear what they wanted. Maybe in the next budget they will be a little more prudent. They will be
Hmm.
a little more conservative. Let's see. But
Hmm.
but at the same time, I also think that this was the honeymoon period for this government. Maybe in the next year
Yeah.
you will already have so many things on you. People will accuse of you of so many things. So at that time, to come up with a conservative budget could be a little more challenging. But
Hmm.
we have to see. Uh, it also depends on the control of the narrative. Uh,
Hmm.
it also depends on the control of the narrative. If BJP is able to change the minds of the people, okay,
Hmm.
and make the masses of Bengal a little more conservative in their attitude, like fiscally conservative. Then
Hmm.
maybe they can come up with a conservative budget. But I'm not sure how much BJP will be able to do that. But then I understand that Shubhendu Adhikari has that ability to control the narrative, to steer the
Hmm.
narrative. But one cannot say how good he is, how pro free market is he in
Hmm.
his mindset. So
Hmm.
that has to be seen.
Shayan is asking, will one vote, one nation, one vote give disadvantage to West Bengal BJP? Nothing is going to give disadvantage to West Bengal BJP for the next 15 years. No changes in West Bengal is possible to create that. Nothing. BJP is going to be untouched for the foreseeable future. And see from the media how each and every channel behaves when BJP and Trinamool people debate on the panel. The anchor for every channel today is a BJP Karyakarta, and talks like Shahzad Punawala. So they have no threats at the moment. So any closing remarks, Dibendu? Otherwise, we'll end the discussion here.
So I was looking to the departments in the ending of the budget, like which has got the allocation. So surprisingly, the women and child development and social welfare, okay, it goes the highest amount, like 52,000 crore. It's followed by the panchayat and rural development, 51,000 crore. Okay, and the I was thinking ki for the infra, it has allocated a lot of fund, but it's urban and urban development and municipal affairs is around 15,000 crore. So large part of it is coming from the central government schemes only. Okay, and the third highest is the school education. No wonders, 44,000 crores. So for the this year, this is the opening. I think the budget of this government. So they had made some promises in the manifesto and all. They needed to keep it. But the major challenge will be to notice will be for next year onwards how they are managing it, right? Because if they are again going into the populism road, it will again go into the same potholes that the left and the TMC has been going forward to. It
Yeah.
can't make up with
Sooner
the
or later,
central.
yes.
Sooner or later it will go the same
Regarding
direction.
regarding welfare schemes, okay, where
Mhm.
certain welfare has been given to women, okay, they could have done something better, like they have done in the center also. Instead of distributing money through Annapurna, that is basically distributing money, they could have continued with the idea of Mudra Yojana, and this has been successful. Now, Yojana is not handouts; it is loan.
Loan.
So you give a loan to people like 50,000, 20,000 loan to start up a small business, and they have to pay back those loans at very low rates, sometimes even at 0% rates. Mudra loans are very cheap in terms of interest. In the Mudra scheme, most of the people who got loans were women, because it is women who are just right at the bottom of the economic ladder, and they just want to rise, they just need fuel. So they took most advantage of it, and that has really empowered women in villages. So I I I like this idea that women are not being uh, told to take handouts. Rather, they are being told that we will give you loan. You start your business. You do something out of your own skill. So that was a very good idea. But when you start giving handout, that becomes a problem, where people really think that they deserve it because they belong to a certain group. So I think
Okay.
these are the schemes the government should push. Mudra Yojana, more loans, easier, cheaper loans. Maybe they can tie up with banks and say that you can give some subsidy on loans, loan rates.
Hmm.
It is
Okay,
easier
Stan,
to
you had
I
get
something
guess
to
loans.
that,
add?
yeah, I guess they declared something for the overhaul of the ITIs, no? Any opinion on that?
Um, no, I can't remember. I just remember that IITs are announced. One IIT in North Bengal, one IIT, and one IIM.
Yeah, in the portion where he was discussing skill development and all, he said something about the ITIs would be overhauled or something, and there will be modernification. I don't know what modernification,
Okay.
because most of the times, yeah, these places are actually teaching stuff which are from the 1980s.
Hmm.
Although they should have been something which teach stuff of the present outside the normal academia-based curriculum.
Hmm.
Contrary to the belief, they do the exact opposite. So probably, yeah, as far as the Mudra Yojana is concerned, what I feel is this was a completely optics-based budget which wanted to widen the gap between how the perception was during the previous dispensation and how it is now. Probably next year onwards, my hunch is they would actually reduce or drastically reduce that amount of Annapurna Bhandar back to 1.5k, and they will redirect the additional 1.5k and merge it with some other things and provide something like Mudra for building up small businesses and stuff. By that time, they will have done a lot of work in the logistics sections as well, and local and public infrastructure in terms of transportation and all would have been built. Then probably it would be slightly easier. And once again, these budding businesses would add more value more rapidly once the basic infrastructure has been built. The majority of the work has been done. So I believe that will be done nonetheless by the next budget or by the next to next budget. Then these people would be added rapidly to the economy and the absorption would be easier. The minimum wage thing, I mean, anytime you increase DAs and stuff, the problem always is that you are again incentivizing people towards the government sector. So I did not really like it. Probably
I,
that was the worst decision I found. If there is a single worst decision that I found in this budget was the additional 20% increase in D. I absolutely find no meaning with it. Otherwise, with the infrastructural promises, and there were other things. I mean, one can eventually say that, yeah, it was increasingly socialist and they promised a lot of things. But they also mentioned about cutting the red tape, about ending the syndicate raj. Now, those do not add anything to the budget. But the fact that they were referred to in the budget clearly indicates that if you actually get them done seriously, then automatically that is adding something very valuable to the budget that you cannot probably save by, let's say, eliminating a few schemes. So they will be very serious about it, and their hope would be that more and more people actually come from them their own will through incentives and stuff. They and I was listening to it while I was actually traveling, but I did hear they were at least proposing to make arrangement for loans for entrepreneurs and stuff. And then there was this I mean,
Hmm.
amount that would be spent to accommodate talent from outside. But then the budget turned out to be 50 crores for that. So I do not know with 50 crores budget, whom are you actually going to bring from outside? Because probably one of those people would be earning around 2 to 3 crores outside if specialization is what you're chasing for. So
Hmm.
the size of people you would be able to import is smaller than even your cabinet.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Okay.
it was more of distributing it to every sector and show people
I
that we have equal focus on every sector. That is
Hmm.
I have a
Yeah, go ahead,
question
Abhay.
that the government has announced that it will build two airports in two or three places like Malda, I think Balurghat, and there was
Yeah,
another place. I guess it was
Kolani.
Asansol or Kollani, yeah.
Kolani.
And there will be another airport in Kolkata. Okay,
No, no.
because no,
The Kolkata one they mean to be in Kolani because Kolani is just 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
okay.
They're calling
So
that
they are
another
trying.
Kolkata airport.
Okay, so yeah. So do you think these airports actually make any sense? Because is there demand for air travel in places like Malda and Balurghat?
Yeah, not right now,
But
but there will
are
be in
they
5 years.
cap-
If they are
are they
doing these
capable
airports,
of
you
doing it?
know that those towns are going to shoot to the stratosphere with investment and development. Otherwise, they would not build these airports.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Maybe
absolutely because of future
uh,
investments.
in Malda you have this opportunity to create a mango industry, at least
Hmm.
in the food
Yeah.
and food processing sector.
Hmm.
Mango industry can be very big in Malda, and their mangoes are quite uh, popular. So
Hmm.
they should try it.
Yeah. Okay, then. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining the discussion. We had a very fruitful conversation, I think, with our agreements and disagreements. Thank you, Dibendu. Thank you, Abhay. Thank you, Srayan. Thank you, Bhupenda, if you're still watching. Thank you, guys, for joining the conversation. Bye bye. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Shubhratri.
কালো তোকে বলে সবাই, আমি দেখি আলো কালো তোকে। কালো তোকে বলে সবাই, আমি দেখি আলো কালো তোকে বলে সবাই, আমি দেখি আলো বিপদে মা তোকে ডাকে সবাই, আমি যেন তোকে রাখি ভালো। বিপদে মা তোকে ডাকে সবাই, আমি যেন তোকে রাখি ভালো। কালো তোকে বলে সবাই, আমি দেখি আলো। রূপে মা তুই জগৎ জননী, ভুবন মোহিনী বেশ মা তোর। রূপে মা তুই জগৎ জননী, ভুবন মোহিনী বেশ মা তোর। আধারে খুঁজেছে জ্ঞানহীনে, আধারে খুঁজেছে জ্ঞানহীনে, হৃদয়ে খোঁজেনি আলো মা তোর। আলো তোকে বলে সবাই, আমি দেখি আলো কালো তোকে বলে সবাই, আমি দেখি আলো তোকে ডাকে সবাই, আমি যেন তোকে রাখি ভালো। কালো তোকে বলে সবাই।